Recording in progress.
Okay, guys. Now, here we go. So again, for today, honestly, there's really nothing new. All right. But again, lines, writing the equations of lines is in every single math class. All right. So once you become experts at that, Algebra 2 is easier, pre-calculus is easier, calculus is easier. All of it's easier if you understand lines. All right. So again, we're going to discuss slope. All right. So remember what slope was exactly. Yes, exactly. Say it. Yes. So we define slope as the change in y over the change in x. That's symbolically how you write that. All right. You know what delta means. In science, you use delta all the time. Delta means change. All right. Now, the actual formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right. And some of your math teachers in the future will say rise over run. All right. I don't really like that. All right. But that's what they will be telling you. All right. I just simply say the slope is the change in y over the change in x. Very important. All right. Now, if you recall last year, I asked you to remember that you're reading the slope from left to right. You're reading the slope from left to right. All right. So what exactly does that mean? All right. So if I blow up on number 1, I highlighted the points for you just because the thickness of my line sometimes doesn't go exactly the way I want on notability. But what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to kind of do the rise over run. All right, this, all right, and this. You're going from the left point to the right point. Now, there is no difference if you go from the right to the left, and we'll explain that. But this is considered delta y, and this is considered what? Delta x. All right, so in this case, you're just going to write m is equal to, what is delta y? 5, and what is delta x? 3. So that is what's referred to as the slope. So now what I want to do is, for some of you guys who are stubborn, you will go this direction, and then you will go this direction, and then you will ask, how is that the same? Because when you're going down, it's what? Right. So in this case, we would say delta y is what? -5, and then delta x is what? Right. So we just avoid the double negatives. All right. We just avoid the double negatives, but it's not that big of a deal. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you something important. Let's say I pick this point right here, and I come all the way up here, and I go straight over to here. What's the slope going to be? What's the slope going to be? The same. Exactly. Thank you very much. Right? I don't know what those points are. It doesn't matter what those points are. If I do delta y over delta x, it's always going to be what? Of this line, it's always going to be what? The same, which is in this case, yes, 5/3. So if I'm looking at, for example, something like this, and I chose this point right here, and I go to this point right here, believe it or not, that's going to be what? 5/3. And some of you are like, that doesn't make any sense. Right? That's not 5. Remember, 5/3 is just a what? It's just a ratio. You could say, for example, you could have gone up 0.5 and over what? 0.3. So I agree with that. It's just a ratio. All right. It's always the same. Anybody? It's very easy. All right. Now, again, super duper important. All right. So let's continue. Now, let's take a look at number 3 now. So remember the slope of a horizontal line. Of course, 0, right? Now, how do we know it's 0? Because to get from the left point to the right point, how many did I go up? 0. And then I went over. Does it matter how many I go over? because 0 over anything is what? 0. All right, that's why the slope of a horizontal line is 0. All right, now it's super helpful to follow along. And if I'm not making sense, I just want you to ask. All right, this should be much easier than the last or the first half of the chapter. But you still got to speak up. Now, here we go. Now, notice here, I just wrote 4 points to try to confuse you. Does it matter what points you select? No. I always say try to pick the 2 closest points together, and that way you won't have to reduce the fraction. All right, not always, but most of the time. So it doesn't matter what 2 points you pick, do the rise over the run. So delta y over delta x. Someone help me. Tell me, Will.
It's 5 over 2.
Somebody said 5 over 2. Anybody else get 5 over 2? Easy, correct? That's it. All right, so that's a good refresher. All right, if I was looking at number 6 by chance, all right, that's a vertical line. So remember what the slope of a vertical line is.
Is it undefined?
Yes, it was undefined. Now, again, we're going to talk why it's undefined. I was working with one of my calculus kids the other day, and I said, why is that undefined? Had no clue why it's undefined. Now, how can you be in calculus and not know why the slope is undefined? Besides that, my math teacher told me. All right, so I want everybody to know why it's undefined. All right, so if we pick 2 points here and here, how much should I go up? 2. How much should I go over? Now, I still have kids who don't know why that's undefined. Why is that undefined?
If 0's on the bottom, then you can't divide it.
But why? That's the question. All right, but why? Right, well, so here's how I remembered it from now on, because I could never remember if it's 0 on the top or 0 on the bottom. How am I can't remember that. In 6 weeks, I'm going to forget it. Right, so here's how you know. So if I say 0 over 3 and 3 over 0, one of those is 0 and one of those is undefined. So please listen. So again, I had to go back and say, okay, well, what's 6 over 2? What's 6 divided by 2? Now, why did I do that? Because I knew it was a division problem. So I knew this was that division problem. Does everybody agree? So now I use something simple and I applied it to something that I should know. So now I came over here and said, well, this just means this, and this means this. Does everybody agree with that? So now what times 3 is 0? 0. That's why 0 over 3 is 0. The next question is, what times 0 is 3? That's why it's undefined. All right, that's why it's undefined. All right, so again, it's a division problem that doesn't work. All right, it's a division problem that does not work. That's why you say it's undefined. All right, so now that everybody remembers all that, I'm pretty comfortable with you guys knocking out the odds. All right, so let's just continue on. Now, find the slope of the line containing the 2 points. So we have a what for that? Formula, right? Everyone should be able to say, I know the formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, because we are all good at math, practice your mental math right now. All right, practice your mental math. So number 9, does it matter if you go -6 minus 5 or 5 minus -6? Does it matter? No, because we just demonstrated that above. If we pick the left point and the right point, or the right point and the left point, we're always going to get the same slope. So it doesn't matter. So here, if we go -6 minus 5, what is that? -11 over 3 minus -2, which is what? I think everybody can do that. Now, let's just say you pick the first point, and I'm just making this demonstration because I want everyone to know. If I pick the first point and subtract the second point, it would just be 5 minus -6, which is 11. -2 minus 3. So is that the same? Yeah, so it doesn't matter now. Everybody with me? It doesn't matter. All right. Anybody have any questions? All right, let's jump to 13. All right, so I have M equals 0 over,
9,
which equals
0,
0. So we know that that's a what type of line?
horizontal.
We know it's horizontal if the slope is 0. Okay. Now, again, I really prefer that we not use our calculators. I have people now who say they forgot how to add fractions. So we're just reviewing. Tonight, if you want to use your calculators, do I care? No, I don't care. All right. But let's practice number 17. Well, anyway, we know this is going to be what type of line? Undefined, because if you just make an observation, right? 7 minus 7 is what? 0. So does the numerator really matter? No, but I still want everybody to do the 2/3 minus 1/5. I want everybody to do 2/3 minus 1/5 just to practice and make sure you're not rusty. All right. And at some point, I really believe you should be able to do that mentally. I just believe you guys are smart enough to do that. Right? So the first thing I want you to do is tell me what the common denominator is. 15. All right. So then the first fraction would be what in the numerator? And the second one would be, so then the answer is 7 over 15. Now, honestly, if you can't do that, I tell you all the time, please let me help you. Let me help you. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. So you forgot how to do a fraction. Big deal. All right. You'll fit right in today with my pre-algebra kids. All right. That's what we're learning. It's not a big deal. They know how to do it too. They just forgot. Anybody have any questions with that? Yes. Good. You can. Does it matter? Huh? No, because it would just be what? -7 over 15. Do you agree with me? And nothing has changed because we're just dividing by 0. That's why I'm trying to get you to understand, Harrison, the most important thing. Do I have to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1? The only thing I can't do is y2 minus y1 over x1 minus x2. So everybody understand that? Right? You have to be consistent. You have to go first point to second point or second point to first point. All right. And again, I'm just asking, some of you guys sit there, you want to do better, let's ask if you're not sure. All right, ask if you're not sure. All right, let's move on. Okay, now writing the equations of lines, someone can impress me here. What was the equation?
Y equals mx plus b.
You are amazing. That is correct. Y equals mx plus b. Now, of course, you don't have to write that down all the time, but if you forgot, that's what you write down. And you tell yourself that m is what again? No. M is what? Slope. And b now, who remembers what the b was?
So y-intercept.
Yay, the y-intercept. All right, and what is the y-intercept? It's just where the line crosses the y-axis. That's all that means, where the line crosses the y-axis. So for number 19, what would be the equation of the line?
Y equals -2x plus -3.
Well, we just say y equals -2x minus 3, but plus negative is perfectly understandable. All right, now again, I'm just begging some of you guys who want to do better, and I try to tell you, you got to speak up in class if you want to do better. Anybody have any issues with that equation? All right, now, of course, we have to graph it. So how do I graph that? What do I do, guys? Who can tell me? Chloe, do you remember? Yes, very nice. You place a dot at -3. That's the y-intercept. Then what do we do? You remember from, yay, down 2 and
Over 1.
yay, the slope. down 2 over 1. All right. And then I just go down 2 and over 1 again. And then I want everybody to look up one last time. Instead of going down 2 and to the right 1, I could go, if I needed to, what? Up 2 and to the left 1. And then you notice that makes a line. You don't have to draw all those lines. How many points do you need for the line? 2. So once you draw 2, now you can kind of freehand. All right. Now, the only nice thing about the iPad is it's helpful for drawing the lines. All right. That's the one thing I do miss for you guys. All right. And I will do it at some point. But for now, you're just going to have to freehand that. And Miss Abigail, I'll tell you, I'll ask you something. I'm just trying to draw my line here. Yeah, whatever that is. Okay,
Mr. Shaw,
I'm telling you.
how do you know that when you go down, you don't go to the left, you go to the right? How do you know that?
Because to the right is positive and to the left is negative. Up is positive, down is negative.
But isn't it a -2?
So how do I write -2? This is a good question. -2 over what? I'm asking. Over what? No, what fraction? 2 is what fraction? 2 over 1. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you forgot. Big deal. But you see what I'm saying now, right?
No,
I'm asking you, 2 is what fraction?
2 over 1.
Yes, 2 over 1. Right. So if there is no denominator, you can always put a 1 there. 7 is the same as what? 7 over 1. Right. So now you know you're going up 7 to the right 1. But you do have a good question. The 1 itself is positive. Do you agree? Some kids want to make it negative. But if you make it negative, now the slope is positive. True? So only one of them can be negative. You understand me now, right? All righty, there we go. Perfect. All right, so now just to make sure, tell me about 21. Read me the equation.
Y equals -2 over 5x plus 3.
-2/5 x plus 3. Nate, graph it. What do I do?
You put b at +3.
You're amazing. And then what?
You go down 2 and to the right 5.
Down 2 and to the right 5. And then let's draw the graph. All right, hopefully it's coming back. All right, hopefully it's coming back. All right, now let's knock out. Okay, so number 23, if I'm looking at that, someone tell me what that is. Michaela, at what point? Yes, exactly correct. Everybody should know it's just a horizontal line at the y-intercept, which in this case is 3. So the answer to the equation, if you wanted to, you could write 0x plus 3, but that's kind of silly. Does everybody agree with that? Right, we would just say what? Y equals 3. Easy. All right, let's go down a little bit. I don't care about 25. Okay, yeah. The next big deal, 27. We're asking to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Hello? Okay, thank you. So now, let's review this. We already know what the y-intercept is, but how exactly do I find the y-intercept? I want someone to tell me. Every y-intercept, what is the x value? 0, thank you very much. Every y-intercept, the x equals 0. And for every x-intercept, what is true? You guys are amazing. That is exactly correct. All right. So now if you forgot that, just make yourself little notes. That's critical. All the SATs have that over and over and over. For some reason, kids don't understand x-intercept and y-intercept. I never understood why. Let's say we forget. All right, we forgot. What's the rule? So what we do is we just draw a couple lines. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a couple lines up here, guys. And then you're going to explain to me let's identify the x-intercepts. So I'm going to circle the x-intercepts. X-intercept, x-intercept. What do they have in common? What do the x-intercepts have in common?
Or y is equal to 0.
That's the y0. That's how you remember that. Just draw any line. And what's the x-intercepts? All the x-intercepts will have a y value that is what? And if you draw two lines or more than two lines, however many lines you want, and you look at the y-intercepts, what's common about the y-intercepts? That's how simple it is. All right, that's how you can remember that. All right, if you want to know, just draw a line and it'll tell you. It seems backwards to me. X-intercept sounds like the x should be 0, but it's not. All right, so knowing that, all right, there's a simple technique for finding the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, I just let the y value be 0. So if the y value is 0, what is the x value? 3. So the x-intercept is 3, 0. And what's the y-intercept?
2, 0.
What's the y-intercept? Come on, speak up. 0, 2, guys. That's it. All right. Now we're just going to do what? Plot those points. 3, 0 and 0, 2. And now you can connect the dots. That wasn't bad. All right. So let's just try one more. All right, so x-intercept. What's the x-intercept? 1, comma 0. And what's the y-intercept? 0, comma -7. Very simple. Very, very simple. So let's do that. 1, 0. 0, -7. And then there we go. Anybody have any issues with that? All right, so now when we look at 31 for a moment. First of all, what is x equals 6? What is that the graph of? Thank you, vertical line. At what point? At x equals 6. So by just drawing the vertical line at x equals 6. So what's the x-intercept?
6,
Come on, say it correctly.
0,
6, comma 0. And what's the y-intercept?
0, 0.
Someone help him. What's the y-intercept? What? Yeah, it's not there. All right. There is no y-intercept. All right, there is no y-intercept. It doesn't cross the y-axis. Remember, that's what x-intercept means. That's what y-intercept means. All right, so I think you're good with 33. All right, now let's go back to just regular graphing. All right, so when you're going to graph, everybody knows you have to put it in what format? Y equals mx plus b. So you have to rewrite it in that format. So we're going to say y equals what? Negative 2x plus 6. And then what do I do? You go what? How am I graphing this, guys? Plot 6 down 2 to the right 1. All right. And then draw the line the best that you can. Okay, now practicing mental math. Everybody look up, look up, look up, look up. I want everybody to be able to look at that and just say y equals something. All right. What?
Y equals 4/5x plus 8.
Now, wait a minute. First of all, you're gonna have to isolate the y. Is the y negative? So everyone's visualizing moving this over here, right? And then this becomes over here. The y's got to be isolated. So technically it is 4y equals 5x plus 8. We want to keep the y value positive. And then we just do what? Divide by 4. So y equals what? 5/4x plus 2. All right, that is a must. Everybody's got to be experts at that. All right, so now graphing that, what am I doing? Plotting 2, then go up 5 and over 4. And there we have it. So for 39, what do I have to do for that guy? Tell me.
Divide by -4.
Yeah, so it's just what?
Y equals 2.
Y equals 2. And everybody now knows, or everybody's refreshed their memory, y equals 2 is just a what? Horizontal line. There we have it. All right, so I'm confident now with your ability to do 41. All right, now for whatever reason, this L on my first SAT problem now is missing. Right, I don't know what happened, but that's line L. All right, so let's see who can do this SAT problem. All right, I want everybody to look at 43 and tell me what, someone tell me what they think the answer is.
X minus y equals -4.
So you think A.
Mhm.
So someone says it's A. Tell him.
C.
Someone says C. Lucas, what?
C.
Anybody else? So I got 2 C's. Now there's lots of ways to do it. All right. And one way is to say, if it's in this format, to me, I'm just looking at the x-intercept and the what? Right? So both intercepts are what? Negative, right? So that means if I plug 0 in for x, y is going to be what? -4. And if I plug 0 in for y, x is going to be -4. So that's why it has to be C. All right, now again, if that wasn't clear to you, it'd be nice if you'd tell me. All right, and it would also be nice if you tried and not just circle my answer. You try it. These are a little bit harder, not really, but these are directly off of SAT tests and ACT tests. What?
Could you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, what if I plug 0 in for x, what do I get for y?
-4.
And that's that point right here. That's that point, right?
Mhm.
And if I plug 0 in for y, what do I get?
-4.
And that's that point. That's how I know it's C. Right? Your mistake was if you plug 0 in for x, the y is 4, not -4. Right? All right. That's not bad. All right, let's look at the next one. Now, these are just all the points on the graph. Does everybody agree? So someone tell me what the y-intercept is. Someone tell me what the y-intercept is. Michaela, good. 15. How in the world did you know that? T is 0. This is the y-intercept. Please, please, please hear me and listen to me. This is important. This is most important. This is kind of like the application, right? This is, do you really understand what I'm telling you? Does everybody understand why 15 is the y-intercept? Not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so the y-intercept is when the x value is 0. So here is the x value and it's 0. Therefore, the y-intercept is 15. Thank you. That's easy. Now you know. So now I know the answer has to be either what or what or what. I should say what or what. What is the answer? Either what? F or H. It's either F or H. How do I know it's F or H? Those are the two with the y-intercepts that are 15. So I'm crossing out G, J, and K. Now the only thing I'm missing is the what? The slope. Thank you. I'm missing the slope. So how did I get from one point to the other? From 15 to 18, I went how many? 3. From 0 to 1, I went how many? So my slope is 3. Therefore, my answer is H, for those of you guys who know the alphabet. I see that. All right. Again, that's critical. All right, so we'll do a couple more and then we'll turn you loose for the day. Here we go. Let's look at 45. Is that really the bell? All right, so listen, guys, just practice the odds up to 45. All right, odds to 45 tonight. Finish all the odds that I didn't do. All right, all the odds that I didn't do to 45. That's fair. All right, I appreciate you guys. That was a nice job today. Tomorrow we will continue. All right, tomorrow we will continue.